Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm your host, Amanda Lamb. It's that time of year when we realize how blessed we are, and we think about people who have less. Ideally, we would think about this 365 days a year. But giving is giving, and the fact that people tend to be more compassionate around the holiday season is a fact. My guest today is a person who does think about other people 365 days a year. And she does things throughout the year that touch other people's lives. But about 20 years ago, she started handing out meals to people who needed them downtown in Raleigh's Moore Square around the holidays. Now her Christmas Day event draws hundreds of people who need a meal and people who are volunteering to serve a meal. For many families in Raleigh, working alongside Mary Brown and her team is a Christmas Day tradition. Mary, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Amanda, and it is a privilege being here with you.
Well, I will say that it is a Christmas Day tradition for my family now because I was so lucky to have met you. I can't remember. We think it's been about 5 or 6 years ago, and you asked me to help with this event, and now everybody in my family knows this is what we do on Christmas. You get up, you open your gifts, and then you get ready to go downtown. So let's talk about how you started. I mean, this was 20 years ago. Downtown was a very different place. How did you decide this is what you wanted to do?
Well, Amanda, this didn't start on Christmas Day. This started on Thanksgiving. As you know, I do clean houses. So one of the little girls that I raised and another little girl that I'm very fond of, Reagan Curtis and Emily Stocks, and her sister Kelly, they said, let's feed the homeless. And I thought, wow, that's a good idea. So we got some food together. Will O'Neill from Winston's brought a big thing of water, and I cooked a ham, and their mother, Pam, did some things, and that's how that got started. And the funny thing about it, we were in Moore Square, not where we actually are now. We were in Moore Square, actually across from where we are. And this little girl walked up to us and she said, "Do you have any more food?" And we said, "No." She said, "No worries." And that stuck in my mind. We went all the way around Shard University to McDonald's. Everything was closed because that was Thanksgiving. Well, I got it that things are open some places on Thanksgiving, but not Christmas. And that's how this started.
And it's really grown. I mean, it's so amazing. You go down there, it's so festive. People are not just feeding, but they're giving out clothing and they're giving out toys for kids. And it's just really become this incredible event. I mean, that's got to make you feel amazing when you see how it's grown.
You know, Amanda, it is definitely mind-blowing from where it started to where it is today. And I look forward to seeing you, your family, and your special husband that is always willing to lend a hand. And I thank you guys for coming. But to answer your question, it does make me feel good to see people get hot meals and to see people get clothing, and sometimes we have toys for the children. And it really does make me feel good because, as you know, there's a lot of people, not just homeless, that can't afford to get good food on Christmas after, paying bills and what have you. So, yes, that makes me feel very good.
Well, Mary, we're going to talk more after the break. Welcome back to the WRAL Daily Download. Like I said, we got involved, my family, about 6 years ago. And, I wanted my kids to understand that Christmas was about a lot of things, but most importantly, compassion and kindness and giving to others. And it would be really great to lay around in your pajamas all day. I know a lot of us would love to do that. But every time we've been to your event, it's just really made the holiday very, very special for us. What about the fact that this year we have seen an increase in people who are living on the streets, people who are down on their luck, because of, the economy and many different situations. Do you think there's going to be a greater need?
Well, I do. I think it will be a greater need because there are a lot of people, and I have seen it over and over. I've seen people living, in the woods. I've actually seen that, and it's so sad. And it is a lot of people that are homeless, and I think we will have a lot of people there getting a good meal. And I start seeing more children coming too. I don't know if that's because I go in different areas and put out flyers, but I'm also seeing children coming, so we'll have something special for the children this year.
Yeah, and I volunteer at Place at the Table, which, throughout the year helps people who are food insecure and allows them to work an hour for a meal. And it's a great organization, and we have seen more families coming there with children as well. So I think you're right. I think you're going to see definitely more families. What about the families who volunteer there and the people who volunteer? And it's not just serving food. It's people who come, they serve food, they donate food. I mean, you have restaurants that donate food.
I can't speak enough about people that are behind the scenes. I'm pretty sure that you are very familiar with Miss Flo Winston. She's now about 80. She makes sure for the last 10 years, she makes sure that I have what I need. And she's about 80 years old, her and her daughter Marion. We have Winston's Grill. Will helps out, and we have Margot's, and we have Miss Connie, who I've never mentioned to anyone. She gave me actually altogether 45 turkeys. 25 went to families that I gave out on Martin Luther King Boulevard at Rose's. So we have a lot of people that I've never mentioned behind the scenes that helps out so much.
That make it all happen. I have the privilege of going to the bakery.
Oh, absolutely.
and the bakery sends the most beautiful desserts. Edible Art sends the most beautiful desserts.
Amanda, I must say, I don't worry about Edible Art because I know you go get them.
Yeah, no, they're amazing. The cupcakes and the cakes and everything like that. And you mentioned this in the beginning, but I think it's important to repeat. There are so many great organizations in Raleigh that feed people year round and that house people year round. But the gap, and there is a gap, is on the holidays.
Absolutely.
And so this really does fill a gap. And I know one of the things that my family does and jumps in to do, and a lot of people do, is we help people go through the line and fill their to-go box and then put it in a bag. And the goal is to give them as much food as that box will hold. And sometimes if they're with a family, maybe 2 boxes, because we want to make sure that they don't just have a meal right away, but that they might have a meal in a couple of hours when they're still hungry and there's nowhere to get food.
And I'm so glad you made that point, because a lot of people say, Mary, this is a lot of food. And just what you said about having enough, that is why I go all out of my way to make sure there's a lot of food there for that particular reason.
So, Mary, tell people this is going to air a couple days before the holiday so people can come down if they'd like to participate. Tell people where you're going to be and the timing.
We will be at Moore Square, Martins Creek, and Building 214. And we usually get up there about 9 to set up. And I would say if you want to come to serve, you should really get there about 10 because we have a lot of volunteers.
You do. So, yeah, I know it gets real crazy between like 10:30 and 11 is when everybody rolls in. And that is right there in City Market. And then, obviously, if somebody comes, there's many opportunities for them to help.
Absolutely. No one is turned away.
And then if anybody's listening who needs a meal, come on down because people start lining up pretty early.
Absolutely.
Well, Mary, thank you for all you do and for all of your partners that make this happen. And thank you for making this a special holiday for so many people. And that includes my family. I will see you on Christmas Day. Thanks, Mary. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download. If you'd like to learn more about things to do, places to visit, and restaurants to enjoy in the Triangle, Check out our Out and About podcast, a weekly podcast from WRAL News. Find it wherever you get your podcasts. And again, as always, thanks for listening to the WRAL Daily Download.